Hi, everyone. This is Erin Chaparro with MTSS Solutions. And I just wanted to bring you a quick message about this time of year in schools and thinking about your MTSS teams and wrapping everything up before winter break. I recently published a blog post titled Celebrating is the Fuel. So this is something I talked about with the members of my MTSS implementation network. And just this week, I was with teams for my university work, and they were focused on implementing database decision making. So we did a workshop with their PBIS teams, and someone made the joke about, gosh, like, why do we even have to come back for the 3 weeks in between Thanksgiving and December, right? And everyone kind of giggled and wished it could be true, but also, it just December can be challenging, and certainly with behavior, and kids can be a little nervous for some of them about being home for unstructured time, whereas others are super excited about, not being in school. So we've got the full emotional range from our students, and then teachers are a bit tired as well and ready for vacation. But I was relieved when one teacher, who was a teacher on special assignment, Atosa, said something that really stuck with me, and that is that she said this, and I quote, let me read it here. This training is taking time out of our schedule today, but I think it's actually going to save us time. She talked about the fact that their current meetings weren't really accomplishing as much as she thought they could. And she said, we have a lot of problem admiration happening, but we're not actually improving the outcomes for students as much as we could, right? So, what we worked on with this database decision-making process, she said, today you gave us a real process. And then someone else chimed in and said, it'll make us more efficient with our time and more impactful with their time. So, just that idea of that problem admiration is something that I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, or at the very least, it's one that you've heard of. We've all been there, and sometimes we're just a little too good at identifying problems, right? It's really easy to see the problems, but it's a little bit more challenging for us to list those things that are working. So, all too often we can list what's not working faster than we can make our morning coffee, right? But celebrating what is working, a lot of times for us, we're our toughest critic. And so that feels indulgent, like we're having dessert before dinner, which I totally do on occasion. That's the fun part about being an adult. We get to do those things. But with celebration, I just wanted to emphasize for everyone, and I shared this with my MTSS implementation network, everyone there. I shared a template for a PowerPoint presentation focused on celebration in particular, because here's what I've experienced, and I just know to be true based on all of my experience and years doing this work, is that celebration isn't the reward we give ourselves after the work is done. It's the fuel that keeps us and the work going. So, a lot of times in my experience, those MTSS teams are not really thinking about those positives. In fact, it's just that everyone's trying to keep up with the day to day, and thinking about the things that maybe slipped that didn't get done, right? The interventions are only partially implemented. The data review didn't happen. The teachers are overwhelmed with pre-vacation student behavior, and so admin are running around trying to put out fires. But one of the teams yesterday that I spoke with, they shared their success with their teacher and staff acknowledgement recognition system. And it was so great to hear that there's actually no gift cards associated with that. Basically, they're getting a shout out. And what I didn't put in the blog post is that the team is actually taking those teacher nominations for acknowledgement and staff and classified staff acknowledgements and posting them right in the main hallway. So it's not just an email out to the staff, but the students are seeing it too. And then it also shows why that teacher, why that classified staff member, or why that staff member in general was nominated, and it's tied into their school-wide expectations. So it says, Miss Julia, grade 1, is nominated because she was kind, and that ties in with our school rule be kind, because she helped out went over and beyond and did this in this capacity for the school. And they put in student-friendly terminology, of course. And they also mentioned that it helps because they have a bunch of new staff in the building this year. So in that way, the staff feel acknowledged. They're in a new building. It helps to feel them included. And then the students see that the teachers and the staff are held to the same behavioral expectations to be safe, be respectful, be kind. Anyway, before you leave, how does this come back to you? Before you leave the building, I'd really love to encourage you to take time as an MTSS leader, as an MTS teacher, and certainly as a leadership team to give those positive shout outs. In the blog post, I talk about naming what's working, honor the people that did the work behind the scenes, reflect on what to keep and what to shift, and write down that what to shift and put it on the burner, on the agenda for your January meeting. Okay. You're not going to be able to do a bunch of stuff now. Don't rush it. You'll probably forget any great action planning or problem solving you do now before break anyway. So put it on the docket, on the agenda for January. And then, like I said, reflect on what to keep. And then just remember that celebration isn't the reward, it's the fuel. It's the fuel that will carry your work forward, your momentum forward. And the last thing I wanted to mention, a recap from the blog post is, these wins that you reflect on from the fall don't have to be huge. Maybe it can just be the fact that you've got 70% of your teachers now consistently implementing greetings at the door. That's a huge success. It sounds like a small thing, maybe. But for a lot of schools, it takes a lot of time to get there. Maybe you've got your progress monitoring schedule finally dialed in. Maybe one of our members of the MTSS implementation network was telling us how she's piloting some SEL lessons with one teacher in a classroom, and that teacher's really enjoying it, and they're really having fun. And then also the students are enjoying it, and they're seeing the benefits with their students. So that's a success to share with people. These aren't small things. They're all evidence that your MTSS process is making an impact and that your people are showing up, and that the most important thing, that change is really happening right now in real time. And so you don't want to let that slip away. The last piece I want to encourage you to think about is, what's one thing you're proud of about the work you did this fall, about yourself, about your team, or about your school. Go ahead and write it on a post-it note, smack it on your computer, put it at your desk so that when you come back in January, you see that. And that's one of the first things you see. Write it down, post it, and share it if you want, certainly. But that way you're set up for success. And that first day when you come back into the building, you've got a little reminder of the good work that you did in the past and the good work that you want to continue for the future. So please know I'm raising my virtual glass to you, toasting to you and all the success and the progress you and your team made. And going into the new year, if your team feels like you need help thinking about or moving from that problem admiration to actual problem solving, especially at the systems level, you're not alone. A lot of teams are in that space, and that shift is exactly what strong MTSS systems are built on. Really understanding that systems level problem solving action planning process. So it's learnable. That's the good news. And I have some exciting things that are coming in 2026 to help you with that. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you've done this year. It's been an amazing and tumultuous, right? If you made it this far, it's been a tumultuous 2025, but there really is so much to celebrate. And I left my day yesterday and a meeting this morning with colleagues at a district, and I'm always inspired by you all, by the work that you're doing, and I just want to ask you to celebrate the work that you've been doing too. So thanks so much for doing this work with MTSS, and I can't wait to help you and support you in this process. Go team.